Mr. Divine, we are back on the pod, and I got to tell you.
Have you pressed record?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You have? I'm just chilling. I'm looking down at my phone. I'm like, whatever, dude.
I pressed record right away. Yeah, we've been rolling, man. You have, well, first of all, how are you feeling? Because I know you got the vid. Is this number 3 for you?
Something like that. Screw the vid, dude. I'm 2 days in. I feel fine.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well,
I don't feel 100% fine. I feel sort of like, I think 80%. It was a super weird experience this time. I had, I woke up I went to bed at like 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I woke up at 1 a.m. feeling like I was dying.
Brutal.
Like, yeah, totally fine at 11 o'clock, dying at 1 o'clock in the morning. And then progressively through the night, just sweated. Temperature went up to 40. Felt super gnarly. And then it kind of like, and then it's just been kind of like that day, I felt kind of like okay by the afternoon. And then I'm sort of like on 80%. Fine. Yeah. Well, COVID ain't getting me this time.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, man. Well, I'm glad you're up and at 'em. It's fun.
Yeah.
I was just out there. I don't think I caught the vid from you, but we were mighty close proximity, breathing on each other's. That's right. Yeah, man. Yeah, a little snuggle, buddy.
So talking about that, let's jump into first of all, if you are here to listen about all things bass, welcome to the podcast. But we're going to be talking about a bunch of interesting things in this episode, and we're kind of sort of like switching things up a little bit with the pod. Instead of focusing on one topic per episode, we're going to be jumping into a few different topics per episode moving forward. So let us know if you like it. And so this week we're going to be talking about why reverb.com sucks. Sucks. We're going to be talking about analog versus digital pedals, like what the differences are and does it actually matter, and why you want to be thinking over like one over the other. And then we're also going to be talking about, well, we're going to jump into that right now, and it's to do with why Ian was over here. You were over here, Ian, recording a bunch of YouTube videos. We were on a YouTube video marathon.
Dude. And this one was really fun. I mean, it's always fun. I love coming out there. I love it. I love eating an English breakfast. Dude.
Oh yeah, dude! The English at the Crown Plaza Hotel.
Dude, at the Crown Plaza, let's go.
Sausages, hash browns.
The potatoes were a little suspect this time, so I just went meat and eggs, and I don't do beans either. So I'm not like a full English. I mean, I just do like the sausage, a little bit of bacon, egg,
black pudding. I
do love some black pudding, and then I do tomato.
Yeah,
it's amazing. And then Gav, shout out to Gav, classic. I mean, Gav's the OG. Gav would roll around, and scoop me up in his little car, and we would roll to the studio, and then I'd get to hang out with you, and we would shoot YouTube videos. It was so fun, man.
It's cool as well, isn't it? Because the hotel's like literally just like, I don't know, like 5-minute drive or something like that.
It's so really easy. Yeah, it's easy. Really it's great. And then we basically get in that studio. We've done some prep, but a lot of the magic happens when we're just in the midst of that recording, hit record, and, we talk about the stuff we talk about. So if we're doing a 5 greatest to 10 greatest, breaking down a great bass line, we're going through all this stuff, but then the interaction is so fun. Like the way you play something versus the way I play it, how you feel about Rush versus the way I feel about Rush, and just getting into all that. Oh man, it's fun. So, and then shout out to the edit team at SBL as well, because they then take the rantings of 2 madmen and have to spin it into an appropriate, amazing YouTube video. So, shout out to Sharon, Connor, who else, and Dan. is doing some YouTube editing as well. Man,
Gav,
shout out to that team.
Alan,
Gav.
yeah,
of course. Yeah, in the studio. Yeah, and did I say Connor? I think I did. Yeah. And
yeah, I've got this sort of like impending doom of like, oh no, who do we miss out?
Who do we say?
But yeah.
And also to shout out Jim too, because Jim was in the studio and Jim would be fact checking for us. And it just at some point became Fat Chicken Jim. Jim, we love you so much. Jim is amazing in a production role. He's awesome. But yeah, I mean, what are we doing in there, Scott? What the hell? Are we just talking shit? No, we're doing some real stuff. We're educating the masses.
So if it's interesting to anybody, hopefully slightly interested, the way that we do it is because like Ian obviously is in Minneapolis and I'm over here in the UK, we have to batch the YouTube videos that we do together. We can't do them weekly. And sort of frankly, we wouldn't do that anyway, but it puts us under even more pressure to be able to batch them. So the last time you came, how many times have you come over to do like a YouTube batch? Is it just the once for the YouTube? Because we've done other stuff, but it was just once for the YouTubes, right? Yep.
I've been over 4 times. 2 of them were for YouTube batching.
2 of them were for YouTube. And this is the second one.
This was the second one. Exactly.
This was the second one. So we'd done it before. So Ian had come over before. It was for slightly longer. And we just did like, we over prepped for it. We just killed ourselves preparing for it. And like weeks of prep going into it. And if you might not know this, but like Ian and I, we might not be the prepping type. we like it loose. Like,
oh man, I like it when those cameras come on and you're just like, hey. Yeah. It doesn't work for everything, but I think we really prepped hard coming the first time. And then the second time we did less. And I don't know, dude, what do you think? A lot. Dude, you're right.
Dude.
Substantially less.
Substantially, like I literally didn't have really anything to do with it other than sort of like I looked at the titles, and you'd sort of like put bullet points and stuff like that down. So we'd just like really not prepped that much. And for me, like the proofs. So I think there's 2 things will they be as good for YouTube, the videos? I'm not sure because we actually took a few risks. Because we hadn't prepped as much, it meant that we were like more flexible when we were filming the videos. So will they be as gangbusters on YouTube? We're not sure. We're just gonna have to sort of like roll with the punches and figure that out as we go. So like performance of the YouTube videos aside, I enjoyed this one more because it was like looser, less kind of like organizationally, like sort of like I guess sort of. It felt more improv when we were just going with it. And then we got in the studio, we recorded for 6 days in total, and we recorded 16 videos. So 6 days in total and 16 videos we filmed across those. And some of them, like maybe a third of them, were just kind of like inspired by just being in the studio with each other. And we're like, remember that bass line from that album? Oh, yes. We should make a YouTube video. Okay, let's do that today. Scrap all of the stuff that we thought we were going to do. Let's do this instead. So there was a lot of that, and I really enjoyed that side of it. Like we did that last time as well, but it wasn't as loose as it was this time. So all that to say, I think that for the experience, I loved it. I loved it. Too, I loved not having to like prepare for like 4 weeks beforehand. And then in terms of the performance, we'll see what happens. And then also just loved to hang with you. We wish we could have hung more actually. Like we got sort of like we got to hang and stuff like that. But like I've got. If you guys don't know, I've got like kids and stuff and a wife and stuff, and I can't completely disappear for the week. So I need to sort of like go and do sort of like family stuff as well during the week. But I think that next time I'm going to sort of like carve even more time out just for the hang.
Amazing.
But what I really did like is when we were hanging, kind of and the reason why we're talking about this is because it involves all you listeners, because I'm sure that you check out our YouTube channel, that we've been talking about the push and pull between different content types and trying to lean more into content that will really inspire people to come back to the channel every single week. More sort of like, and we've got example, because right now, it's not like that, because one might be a beginner's lesson, one might be a more advanced lesson, one might be on funk bass, another one might be on reggae bass or like disco bass lines. It's not for everybody. And I think that as a watcher of the YouTube channel, that might be confusing sometimes, because you're like, should I be going to visit SBL this week or should I just not? Like, I'm not sure what to expect.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. We haven't got repeating content on there that really pulls everybody together as a community, that everybody's kind of like just like loving that content, and they're just like, fuck, this is the best.
Right.
But what we've done over the last 2 or 3 months is we've been putting sort of like experimental content onto the YouTube channel, that being the Marcus Miller interview that we did, and then we did a Guy Pratt one, and then we did the Henrik Linder, and then Rob Malarkey and Richard Spaven.
Yeah.
Like, hell, go check those out if you haven't already over on the YouTube channel. They're like all an hour apiece, and every single bass player should watch those because they're so inspiring.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and they're inspiring because, these are sort of like heavy-hitting bass players. Tick, great, okay? But the format of the videos is great. We're not kind of like just talking about who they were or who they are, where they came from, where they're touring next. Like, we're grilling them. Like, hey, it's more, and we've been toying with the idea of calling this series of videos called Behind the Bassline, and it's really hooking up with legends of the bass and discussing, okay, like, you played this great bass line, let's talk about it. What was the studio like? Who was on the gig? What effects were you using? What bass was it that you were using? Okay, now teach us the riff. And the first one that we did like that was that Marcus Miller interview that I did down in London. So we did that. That was awesome. And we uploaded that onto the channel. It went wild on YouTube. And the reason why I think that we're so inspired about that content is because it's content for everybody. And also it ticks the box of it's supporting the great players out there, because hell, we need to shine a light on people that, have had these amazing careers or are just getting into it right now. New guys on the way up or new girls on the way up, right? And we need to be shining a light on them. So it supports the players. It also ticks the box of gear, because we're talking about the gear they use, the effects they used, all of that. It also ticks the box from an educational perspective, because they're showing us how they played it, their approach. And it also so it brings the entire community together, which is something that I'm really excited to bring to our channel, because I feel a hole when I think about, back in the day, Bass Player magazine, that isn't really around anymore like it used to be. Back in the day, it was the linchpin of the bass community in many ways. It supported the bass players, it supported the artists, it supported the gear manufacturers, it supported everybody. And really, I think that there's a hole that hasn't been filled. And I would love for this kind of more sort of like, I would call it like legacy content or community-driven content. Somebody that every single week, whatever week it is, that we're dropping a piece of content. You're like, oh, I need to go to SBL and check it out, because I know without a shadow of a doubt that there's a piece of content on there that we've published that's going to blow my mind. So we've been really excited about really leaning into that. And we were like having a Five Guy. We had Five Guys, and we were like,
oh yeah, we did. Oh,
and I was just like, dude. We should just like do something in Minneapolis. And like within half an hour, we've messaged Sonny, who plays bass for Corey Wong, and obviously had played bass for Prince. I messaged Brown Mark, who was in my favorite Prince bass player. God damn, the guy's so funky. The Revolution band. We reached out to Charles Bertu, we reached out to Nicole Rowe, and we reached out to them, and we were just like, hey, do you want to come and do this? We want to do this new style of content for the channel. Do you want? They were like texting us back. I was like, this is it. Let's crush it. So all that to say that I thought it was just important to let you guys know what direction we're trying to, lean into. And don't worry, I want to keep doing all of the stuff that we are doing, all of the YouTube, the lessons, the riff breakdowns, the greatest bass lines, all of that stuff. We want to keep that as it is. This is sort of like an additional content type that we want to bring to the channel, because I want to really bring the bass community together and find a content style and type and format that supports not only every single bass player, whether you're just picking up the bass for the first time or you've been playing for 30 years.
Right.
So it supports you in that way, and all of your gear needs, like gives you sort of like insight into the gear nerdery of the pros, but also really supports the artists as well, and gives them a platform that they can come to if they want to connect to a really fantastic bass audience like yourself. So all that to say that we're super excited about it, and pumped.
And again, if you haven't seen those interviews, Marcus Miller, Henrik Linder, Guy Pratt, and then Rob Malarkey and Richard Spavin do a video on like Dilla drumming and drum and bass. All 4 of those interviews are so fun. There's also a thing at the end, the string change challenge, where they're, and it's funny and it's sort of based on like Hot Ones, where they're, I'm throwing trivia at them and they're trying to change strings on a bass. And it's so much fun. And they're breaking down tunes and they're talking about their pedal boards. And so agreed, it's legacy content. All that stuff is just growing. It's just slowly growing and growing and growing. And we want to do more of it for sure. So and please let us know too, wherever you reach out to us, let us know who you'd like to see in that format, who you want to see an hour-long interview with.
And you might want to hook us up as well. Like if you know somebody and you're like, I know this guy, I know this girl, I would love to see them on that show. Like feel free to reach out over Instagram and hook us up, or support at Scott's Bass Lessons and hook us up there. Like one that I would love that needs to happen. Like think about it, like content that needs to be in the world.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
Here's a piece, right, that needs to exist.
Yeah.
Stuart Zender, okay.
Yeah.
Talking about and taken us through all of the legendary Jamiroquai bass lines that he wrote and played. If that piece of content doesn't exist, something wrong happened. Something wrong happened in the world. Like that is a piece of content that really needs to exist in the world.
Agreed.
So I would love to make that happen. I would love to do something with Carol Kay as well. I'd love to do something with Carol Kay. I think that would be just so fantastic. So there
when we were at Five Guys too, I reached out to Larry Graham.
Larry Graham.
That needs to happen too. And Larry Graham has not gotten back, but I'm still hopeful, dude. I'm still hopeful. I mean, Larry is the godfather of slapping the bass. I mean, Larry Graham invented slap bass. Yeah. And if we don't talk to him, I'm going to be sad.
Yeah, me too.
So if you know Larry, let him know we're legit, dude. Reach out to Larry. Let him know. Hey, you got to get on that SBL on the podcast or on the YouTube show. What do you want to call it, Scott? Behind the Baseline?
Behind the Baseline, yeah.
Hell yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think it'd be wicked.
So that's what we got coming up for you. This train is rolling. And we're batching content. I'm heading out. We're doing that. We're still doing individual videos, and we want to make amazing interviews, bassline breakdowns with all of your favorite bass players. So it's all on the way. It's
done.
Amazing.
Yeah. Making it happen. Now, do you know something? Or do you want to know something, Ian?
I'd
do you
love
want to know why reverb
know.
Sucks?
Dude, I want to know. Why does it suck so bad?
I know. Well, first of all, caveat, this isn't just about reverb. And if you were waiting for some kind of sort of like gruesome bloodbath where we bash the crap out of reverb.com, you ain't going to get it. But what you will get is like maybe like an insight into how Ian and I have been let down in the past, and with our bass purchases, not only from Reverb, but on eBay and TalkBass and Bass Chat and all of those places, right? Buying basses online, why it sucks, and what you think you might get ain't what you're going to get. And actually, it's not about people ripping you off. It's not about anything like that. It's well, do you want to take it, Ian? Because you told a great story actually recently.
Which one was that? We were talking about this in Leeds.
It was when you went to Andy's recently.
Oh, God,
so, you've been looking on the website. You've been looking on Andy's website.
Right,
there's all of these basses. In your mind, you're like, oh, that one. That one's going to be the one. Oh, and this other one as well, this Candy Apple Apple Red Jazz, but that's going to be, and it's a 19, whatever, right?
Yes.
And you're sort of, And the deal is that your brain, you're kind of sort of like, you're listening with your eyes almost. You're looking at this bass. You're imagining what it's going to sound like, and the playing.
Photos.
Oh yeah, and the playing's going to be playing this thing's going to be like butter. And the reality,
and you even try to, you look at the photos of the one that's, and you wonder, that string action actually looks pretty low. That looks pretty good. And you're like, and then you get it, if you order something and you're like, oh, this needs a full setup or whatever. But yeah, what Scott's referring to, when I was over there in the UK, I went to visit Andy Baxter. And if you've never seen Andy Baxter's site, you gotta go. Is it Andy Baxter Bass and Guitars? Just type in
AndyBaxterBass.com. Great site.
Incredible. And he gets unbelievable stuff. And he gets a lot of it from America. It makes me crazy because, he gets a lot of it from the States and ships it over there. And then if you want it stateside, you got to ship it back, dude. But I went over there to hang with Andy for a day. We had such a good time. Andy, you're the best, man. If you ever listen to this, you're the best. Thanks for your time. We hung out, shot some video, just hung out. And he had a 53 P bass. Now, I have a custom shop version of that bass of a 51. So it's the butterscotch sort of, telly bass, single coil pickup right in the middle, black pick guard surrounds both horns. You can probably see it in your mind. It's like the first electric bass. And I have always wanted a cool example of an original one. Now, I think he has one there. I think it's 22,000 pounds, dude.
Wow.
22,000 pounds. So this I wasn't going to go buy it, but what an opportunity to go even just play it. I've never played one. And so I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing. And then I'm going to have to figure out how to sell kidneys and other basses to buy it. Right. And I went and I picked it up, plugged it in. Here we go. Oh, it's going to be. And it was just okay for me. Like it was, and
it won't have been anything to do with the setup either, because just to put it out there, Andy Baxter is like the nerdiest of nerds when it comes. Like when a bass goes in that shop, he pulls that apart and he inspects all of the serial numbers and the screws, and like he is sort of like he's the vintage collector's vintage collector. He's like
so true.
He's a badass.
Yes.
So, but it's to Ian's point though, whatever you think. When you look at the pictures on a site, it actually tells you fucking nothing about the bass. Nothing.
Zero. And even if you hear it, even if someone is playing it, it's still so different when you get it in your hands, how it feels, how it sounds. And look, this bass was really nice. And to your point, Scott, Andy had done all the work. It played great. It just wasn't exactly what I was expecting. I have a custom shop one that actually I like better. That my custom shop, I was like, oh, I'm perfectly fine with that. And in a way, it was a bit of a relief, right? Like I was sort of relieved. And then Andy was like, well, you got to play all these. Yeah. He's like, you got to play all these others. And he had a Sunburst 57 P bass that was, in 57, Fender transitioned to a P bass that we all know and love, the split coil. But in early 57, they were still single coil. Now think of this: Sunburst, white pickguard that envelops both horns. Think of like Sting's bass. It's kind of that vibe. It has
and
contours.
This is the one that you don't like. So you'd seen this on the website.
And I was like,
I don't like that. Yeah.
Who cares? Yeah.
They look a bit whack, right? Just flew by it.
Yeah, I don't love the Sunburst with the white pickguard. I never have. Like, nah, no thanks. It's not for me. And he's like, oh, you got to try this one. I was like, yeah.
And you didn't even want to try it.
I didn't even want to try it, dude. I was like, oh, all right. But I'm trying to, Andy is there. I'm playing all his basses. And I mean, a 57 P bass, of course, I'll try it. But I had zero expectations. I thought I'd play a couple of notes and put it down and go, wow, great bass, but sort of be lying. And I picked it up. And it went like, foom, 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 foom. And I went, fuck. Like it was so good. And I was like, no. And I was like, Andy, this is good. And he's like, yeah, of course. It's a 57, early 57 P bass that I've set up. Of course it's good. And I was like, and he's like, put it down, play some other stuff. And I was like, no, like, I want to keep playing it.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at it right now.
Scott, it's an incredible instrument. It's incredible.
Is it incredible?
Then I played some other things. And then there was a 1966 candy apple red P bass. Now, again, you know how I feel about P basses, Scott. Well, two things.
I'm looking at it now.
I lean jazz bass, but then also a P bass with flats makes me drool for some strange reason. There is like P bass with flats is an intoxicating sound. And he had this red, candy apple red, beautiful 66. And I played it and it was incredible. Shit. It was so good. And I had just hung out with Ian Trusheim. Shout out to Ian Trusheim in Baltimore, who does work for the SBL Blueprint program. Killing bass player. He has also an original 66 that he brought out to coffee. I was on a gig. He brought it out. It was so cool, you know, but the thing that he likes and the thing that I like are maybe a little different. And I remember playing that bass and it was really cool, but it was fine to give it back to him. I wasn't like, oh man, you know, sell this to me. But it is so wild, right? It's like, you pick up something. So that 66 candy apple red at Baxter's, I don't know, maybe the action was a little different. The strings, I don't know what it was, but maybe it was the room. Maybe it was I hadn't eaten food all day and I was like out of my mind, just over caffeinated, you know? Yeah. And it was killing. Was it killing?
Yeah.
And then I played all of these jazz basses and it just made me want to go back and play the P basses. It's probably Freudian. It probably means that I need to just play a P bass. God damn it. You know, God damn it. Just Andy Baxter just making me question my whole life and my choices and, but you know, and so the point of this is to say that if I would have ordered something on Reverb, on eBay, bought something on Talkbass, you do not guarantee that you're going to like the thing that shows up. So I guess, like, what's the advice, Scott? Is it like, go play it if you can?
No advice. But in all seriousness, I don't have any. It's happened so many times.
Yeah.
So many times.
You've got some too. You've got a couple stories about this as well.
Yeah, I went down to the bass gallery, and I wasn't going there to buy the bass, but they had this custom shop heavy relic thing in there at the time that looked absolutely insanely cool.
Yes.
I picked it up and I was just like, meh. It was like just nothing. It was like, whatever. You know, like it just, you know, it looks $1 million. It plays just like a, it wasn't bad, but it's just okay. And then I was telling you that we were talking about this earlier, and then I picked up this Tokai Jazz, which was like black, chipped to shit. It was just like, looked like it'd been dragged around, but not in a cool way. It was just sort of like, you know, it wasn't like the cool relic vibe. It was just sort of like, it just looked like it'd been hammered in the back end, in the back of a school closet for like 30 years. But this like 80s Tokai black jazz. And so here's something interesting as well. Yeah, I'll give you even more context because this is super cool. So I played that custom shop P bass. I was like, ugh. And I was like, oh, I wonder if they've got any. And this was like a few years ago. And this is, again, here's just to put this up front as well. This is no knock against the shops.
Of course.
They can't do anything about this. Literally
how you feel about nothing. A bass.
Yeah, they can do nothing. But they just, like, certain basses have it, certain basses don't. They're made out of wood. It's an inconsistent material. Yeah. The end, right? It is, you know. So, so the shops can't do anything about it. So I picked up the jazzes. They had all of these. They had like a 66 jazz in there. I think they had a 60, like an early 60s jazz, but it was a refinished one.
Yeah.
I think they had like 3 or 4 jazzes, all very expensive.
Yes.
I played them all. And I was kind of looking for a jazz at the time, but nothing, you know, they were okay, played okay, nothing, you know. And then for whatever reason, I picked up this black Tokai Jazz and it was amazing.
Right.
It was amazing. I should have bought that bass.
$800?
800 quid, I think. Yeah, something like 800 or 900 quid. I should have bought it. It was one of the best I've ever played. And I've got other stories like this. There was one where I went to Bass Direct. I've told that story before. There was this 70s jazz. I'd looked at all of the other jazzes. I picked up this 70s jazz randomly because I was just sat next to it. I'd seen it on the website, just looked, It was like that 70s it period where I don't like the sunburst. I'm like, ugh.
Yes.
It's like really red in the summer. You know the vibe, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
And it just looked like that. I was like, ugh. Anyway, so I like picked it up and it slayed any other jazz bass I'd played up until then. So all that to say that this is why shopping online for basses really, really sucks. Like it really does, especially for the sort of like the older instruments, especially for the older instruments.
Yes.
The newer instruments, I would say, are actually more consistent. So
I totally agree.
Yeah. So for instance, I have owned. Oh, check this out! Got the banana bass right here, right?
Yeah, dude.
So I've owned like a bunch of F basses. In the past, and it's every single one's like a badass, right? So they're just like really consistent. I will say two things: that there are other basses. Well, how far do I go down this rabbit hole? My own opinion on why F basses are so consistent is that they do one thing and do it well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so. Hey, what's your F bass made out of? Ash. Oh, really? What's your F bass made out of? Ash.
They do the same thing.
It's the same thing. Same body shape, same pickups, same circuit, same everything. Yep. So they just my kind of sort of like I guess sort of like intuition's telling me that they're really consistent because of the way that they just do that one thing really well. But I will say that there's, other modern makers that are very consistent as well. I will also say, just to put my freaking, 2 pennies worth in, some of the higher makers as well in that bracket aren't. I'm not going to mention any names, but recently I actually played a higher end instrument from a boutique manufacturer. Meh.
I know, dude. I've had that too.
Could have been better.
I have had that too.
Yes, could have been better.
Let me give you another amazing example of consistency. Every single lull bass that I've ever played, this is a Mike Lull, IMA4, baby. This bass is incredible. And I will tell you something about like a builder like Spencer. He'll try some different things. So this is interesting. This is like Thunderbird pickups, which are inherently like a little darker. They're humbuckers, but every wood then thing is trying to bring out high end out of them. So this is a solid swamp ash body. This is a graphite maple reinforced neck. And then a maple with graphite reinforcements, neck one piece, and then an ebony board. So it's a bright wood combo. Right? It might be a little too bright for maybe straight jazz bass pickups, but for Thunderbirds, it's a reason, right? It's like, it's an intention.
Yeah.
Instead of just like, let's slap a bunch of crap together and see what happens. There's intention around it. And that's what F bass brings too, is this intentional recipe. And I happen to be a little more adventurous. I love to try different stuff and just see what happens. But I will say, like, if you order a lull, or in Scott's example, if you order an F bass, you're going to get an instrument that is not going to disappoint you. I mean, it might not necessarily be the thing that you were hoping for, but it won't be bad. It won't be a dog. It won't be like worse than another F bass or than another lull that you could get, right? Yeah. I mean, they're all going to be pretty like within a very tight tolerance of one another, which is
exactly
really cool.
that. Yeah. I think
Can I?
Yeah, go for it.
Can I give you a pitch? What do you think of this?
Go for it, dude.
Let's say you're going to buy an instrument. Maybe it's a new instrument, maybe it's an old instrument, but maybe you're looking at something that's going to cost a few bucks. Here's my pitch. Budget in to your purchase a trip out there. I wonder if you could go to Seattle or to Chicago, or if you're in the UK, if you could go to London for not a ton of money and spend the afternoon. You wouldn't even have to stay there all night, or maybe you get a hotel. I mean, what's this going to cost? This is going to cost potentially an extra, $1,000 at most. Now, some of you might be like, that's insane. But what will happen is if you go out to Chicago and spend the day at Chicago Music Exchange, you go out to London and you hang at the Bass Gallery, like, what will happen is you'll get to try all the stuff, and you might actually save money, because you might be going out there to buy that custom shop thing or some, old jazz bass that's worth 10 grand. And you might find something. You might find that like Lakeland, you might find that's $8,000 less. And you might go, holy crap, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Go there. Make friends with the shop owner. Make friends with the person that builds the instrument. I'm going to go out this fall to Seattle and hang out with Spencer and play all those basses and enjoy. Yeah. You got to go out and hang out with Marcel. Like you got to, dude. You got to get out there, man. Yeah. I mean, I think there's something about going to the place that is just, it's priceless. It's amazing. And one other thing real quick, I went out to Chicago on a tour and I was dead set on buying a Guild Starfire with 2 pickups, and it was going to be expensive. I didn't care. I had the money. I was going to do it. And then I played it and it was crap.
No.
And then I looked to the right and there was a Starfire that only had 1 pickup, the neck pickup. And it was like $2,000 less. And I went, I've never wanted this. Whoa. But maybe and I played it and it's magic. Amazing. And that's the one I bought. Right. And so, if you can go, make it a fun thing, make it a pilgrimage, make it a trip, plan on going somewhere and trying these things and meeting the people and building a relationship. It's going to inform you so much on what you're buying. And then you'll get to try them all and see what you like if you're there in the place with the basses and the people. What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
I guess it's a tough spot to be right now, isn't it? Because online is obviously the sector that's blowing up in terms of musical instrument sales. But the fact of the matter is that what you see on a website is zero representation of what it's going to play like. And the older the instruments, the more that comes into play. So I love the idea of getting a real relationship with the seller. Like, people that like shops that have where you can build like real rapport and like you can have trust with them. Like people like Andy, for instance, Andy Baxter. Like I'm sure that there's other shops out there that you could build sort of like that relationship with. And then also from a shop perspective, like I'm not sure that anybody's doing this right now, and I'm not even sure if it's even economically possible, but some kind of sort of like try before you buy, and obviously would not work overseas, but something like, 14 days return or something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And I feel like a lot of shops do offer like a 7 or 14 day window, which is totally cool. I mean, there's just something about like shipping a bass and then, you're just worried about shipping it and then like shipping it back. Oh God. I mean,
I know,
it's dicey. I've had bases damaged in shipping before, and I've had mostly good experiences with shipping, but some really awful experiences. I guess, it's just, I don't know.
Here's what I'll say, right? So maybe we're talking to, well, the reason why I'll put out why I think it's important is because it always just gets me by surprise. Even though I know it always surprises me when it happens. Even though it's happened multiple times, it still surprises me.
I know, me too.
And I'm lazy. There's like a bass shop like 2.5 hours away from here, and I would, even knowing what I know, I would still sort of like, I'll buy it online and and all of that. And I should, to your point, I should make the trip. I should make the trip. If it's in London, I should jump on the train. It's like 3 hours. I should make the trip. And just because I think that going to those shops, as Ian said earlier, the thing that you've gone for might not be the thing.
So true.
And in many ways, probably isn't when you start playing all of the other basses, but you might find the thing. It's just so much better to put yourself in a situation where you can actually try out the instruments and
and just see that like how the sausage is made. If you're going to a maker too, like if you go see Lull, if you go see Lull, they're a repair shop. They do repairs on other instruments and they build. And I mean, seeing that, and also, hey, look, I know Spectre. Like if anybody from Spectre's listening, I know you guys don't do like public tours of the custom shop, but I think you should. I think think you should. I had an experience where I got to walk through and pick materials for a build, and I think that they should offer that as a higher tier like price point. Like if you want an experience where you get to walk around with Will and pick out materials in your top and everything for a bass, I think they should offer that. I think you should offer it, Spectre, because it was incredible, and it connected me to that brand like never before. I've loved them forever, but getting to do that and getting to pick out the neck billet and, you know, Will saying, this is what you kind of want to look for, and getting to write my name in silver pencil on the top. Asking, should I do that? And I'm like, of course. I mean, it gets sanded. Write your name on it. You know, I would pick out a thing of wood, and Will would go, "Great, that's the fingerboard you want of all 20 ebony boards. That's the one." And I'm like, "Yep." He goes, "Write your name on it," and he would give me a silver pencil, and I would, and I will never forget that experience. It was amazing. It would be like, if you have the money to spend on an instrument, like doing something like that, going and having an experience like that with the builder is worth its weight in gold. You'll never forget it as long as you live. So, dude, pilgrimage. Yes.
You're absolutely right. Pilgrimage. Next confirmed interview for Bass Space 2023.
Who is it?
John Taylor.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Duran.
Yeah, dude. That's going to be awesome.
So what's the first thing you'd ask John Taylor, Scott?
Pant size.
I would ask him trouser size.
Yeah, trousers versus pants. Yeah. Does he like it tight or loose?
Incredible.
So we've got Bass Space 2023 coming up July.
Yeah, we do.
Like mid-July.
14 through 16.
July 14 through 16. It's going to be awesome. 3 days. Totally free to come. It'll be great to see you there. It'll be wild. Now, pedals. Give it to me, Alison.
Let's do it.
Yeah, this is, I guess, sort of like a selfish question from me. Analog versus digital. Give me your pitch. Because I know that you like analog and you use a lot of digital. We've been geeking out for a week on analog pedals, even though you've been sitting with a digital pedal. Sorry,
I know. Here's my take.
I was going to say, speak to the person that sort of like doesn't know. That like, I'll give you 2 scenarios. One individual is like, they're a little bit, I'm not sure. Is it digital? Is it analog? Is it a mix of both? That's one. Second scenario is an individual, bit more like me. Maybe I am the individual. Can't deal with complexity. It's either one or the other, dude. Just tell me. Okay.
Sure.
There you two.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. There's a misnomer about, hold on a minute. I got a little, hold on. Oh yeah. My headphones died for a sec. I'm back. Can you hear me?
You're back. Yeah, dude.
All right. So there's a misnomer about what that means. And briefly, an analog pedal means that your signal goes through an analog, pots and resistors, and it might be a circuit board and everything, but it never gets changed to ones and zeros. What a digital pedal means is that it goes through essentially like a computing function where your signal, your analog signal from the cable going into the pedal, gets converted by a converter into ones and zeros, into a digital waveform representation. Then those ones and zeros can be changed in a variety of ways. And you can have, wild synthesizer sounds, or you can have, like the digital pedals can do, quote unquote, more because they've changed your analog signal into digital data. And then after that digital processing has happened, then it goes back into another converter and it changes the digital back to analog, spits you out. So it goes through more stuff, right? And there's kind of this thing out there of like, analog is better, it's warmer. It's like the difference between CD and vinyl. And I just think that that's crap. I don't think it's true. I think that maybe it used to be true. Maybe the early digital delays, digital reverbs, maybe had sort of a harshness because the conversion wasn't great. But now, cheap converters are great. I mean, the converters that they use, like, for instance, in the HX Stomp made by Line 6, which I love, are great. Pedal sounds awesome. If you blindfold tested someone running into that pedal with no effects on, just, you're running through the conversion and out versus true bypass, like you're running through the DSP processing of that pedal, but no effects are on, and then you're running through it bypassed, I bet you'd all get it wrong, because what digital conversion does too is buffer and keep your high end intact throughout the whole chain of the process. And so you might actually think, ooh, there's one that sounds better, more clear, a tiny bit louder, warmer, and that's the digital one. Oh, God, I love it, dude. I love it. So, it, of course, depends on the converters that are being used, and it just depends on the maker. But I don't think you should have any kind of like, oh, I only use digital. Oh, I only use analog. It's totally fine. Now, there is something, though, Scott, where I wonder, have you ever used a pedal that is like a triggering pedal, where like the Source Audio C4, for instance, or the legendary Akai Deep Impact, which was a synthesizer pedal. There are pedals, or like the Electro-Harmonix Bass Microsynth is another great example, where what happens is it takes your input information and uses that input information to trigger a different sound. And those pedals can be really difficult to use because they're disconnected from your fingers. Boss makes, I love this pedal, but the Boss SYB 3 and 5, and the SYB stuff, it's synthesizer stuff, but it's triggering. They're using your signal, and they're digital, but what they're doing is they're using your signal to trigger a completely different sound. And those pedals can be really wild and radical sounding, but they get completely divorced from your dynamic, from your nuance, from your attack, your cutoff. You have to play them very specifically to get them to react the way that you want. Yeah. And those pedals have been difficult for me. Like, people have been like, oh, Ian, you got to just get a Source Audio C4. You can do anything with it. And I have tried. I've owned that pedal several times. And I always bail. Interesting. Because it doesn't feel real to me. It doesn't feel like it's connected to my hands. Whereas digital pedals or analog pedals that are not trying to just use your input signal as a trigger for a sound, no problem. Like, I'm using analog and digital synthesizer, or like pedals right now in my main board. I've got 3-leaf octave, 3-leaf fuzz, or called a Doom 2. Those are analog. And then I use other sounds, other synthesizer sounds, and other digital reverbs and digital chorus inside the HX Stomp. I blend the two worlds together, and I love it. I love it.
Done.
How'd I do?
Awesome. I've got no questions. You guys got any questions?
No questions, dude? No. Nothing? No. I will say this for you, Divine. You have one of the funkiest frickin' envelope filters I have ever heard in my life. And I couldn't believe it, dude. When I was there, that envelope filter that you have, Scott has a thing called an EMMA Electronics, EMMA, discombobulator.
It's outrageous, isn't it?
I hate the name of it. I have to just say, I hate it. I hate the name discombobulator, but that's fine, dude.
EMMA.
EMMA.
Is it EMMA Audio or something?
EMMA Electronics.
I EMMA Electronics, yeah.
I found it immediately on Reverb. I think I took a little sneaky, cheeky peek even when we were sat in the studio at Leeds. I took a look. You started playing that thing, and I was like, dang.
Oh, yeah, here Scott, it is. They've got the discombobulator navigator delay. Yeah.
That pedal, it's under the radar, you guys. There's a version 2. You have the version 2, which has like more of a graphic on it. The version 1 is for sale a lot on Reverb, I see, and they're cheap. But the version 2 is the one that Scott has, and it has like graphics of maybe an astronaut or something on it, like radio towers or something. I mean, if it were me, I'm like, come on, let's up that aesthetic game. But that's just me, because I'm a jerk. I'm a bitch about that stuff. But it sounded incredible. That pedal to me is a really, really syrupy, cool sounding envelope filter.
Yeah, and I always have done for a long time. I have an issue with envelope filters, actually.
They're hard to use.
Struggle to get them to sound how I want them to sound.
Yes, they're really difficult.
That's the first thing. Second thing is, I went to their website and Pino Palladino's on there playing that exact pedal.
Did you know that before today?
No.
Wow.
Dude, here's something. I don't know where I got that pedal from.
That's amazing.
I don't know where I got it from. I've had it for, I've just had it for a long time. And it kills it. Ida Nielsen use it as well.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
I better buy one before this episode comes out because they're all going to double in value.
Yeah. How much are they? How much are they?
They're not that expensive, dude. They're 200 and some bucks, I think.
Oh, maybe they don't even do, they do them direct, I think. Oh, maybe they don't.
Yeah.
Weird.
Well.
189 euros. Oh, so they're obviously sold out. It says on there. So,
Interesting. I wonder if they're taking a batch approach, like
Maybe,
Mr. Spencer
yeah.
Doran from 3 Leaf Audio. Ooh, that stuff rips, man.
that is so interesting, isn't
rips.
it? Yeah.
What I'm talking about, as Scott's looking here online, Spencer Doran from 3 Leaf. If you know 3 Leaf, I have their octave pedal and their Doom 2, which is like a low gain fuzz. He is so smart. He is just releasing in small batches now, and he did a Doom 2 run. That's one of my favorite pedals of all time. It's such an interesting sounding fuzz, and they sold out in under 30 seconds. In fact, if you didn't have Apple Pay, you didn't get it. Like if you had to enter if you went through the PayPal process, they were already gone for customers that were using Apple Pay. So I think he did a drop of 50, and then 12 hours later he did another drop of 50.
The Doom
so he
2?
did 100, the Doom 2. And they went each time 100 pedals sold in under 30 seconds. I bet in under 20, maybe under 15.
How many does it do a year? 900, yeah.
Well, he's doing 300 Dooms this year, 300 Protons, which is their envelope filter, and 300 octave pedals.
Outlandish.
And
love this.
And he makes an amazing product. Those are all analog. That's an all analog pedal. It feels very connected to your playing, very dynamic, very cool. That said, it would be cool if he introduced a pedal that had digital aspects as well, and you could save presets, or he probably won't do that. But just because it's analog doesn't mean necessarily that it's better again, but it's not a triggering. None of it is like triggering synth stuff. If you combine Spencer's octave, the Doom, and a Proton, it is like synth heaven. It's incredible and responds exactly to the touch that you're using. And
which octave have you got?
amazing.
The octave.
Yeah, he made that with Tim Lefebvre in mind. So it's like he's just called the Octaver, but it has like Tim Lefebvre's name in it.
Yeah.
It was like a bold choice, like a bold naming choice, because everybody's like, "How do you pronounce that?" It's like that's just Octaver.
Yeah. And which one have you got? The big one? So there's a big one, the Mark II. There's also a small one.
Listen, the best one I think that he has ever made, without a shadow of a doubt, my favorite sounding one, because dude cannot stop tweaking circuits. So every single release is different.
Is different.
Every one. And my favorite is the Mark II White Octaver.
That's the large
incredible.
one, right?
Yep. It's my favorite one. And I just got used to it. The Mark III that he makes is cool too. It's smaller. It saves space on a board. But I have one of those as well, and I don't like the way it sounds as much as the Mark II. The Mark II, to me, is the best octaver ever been made ever in the world, in the history of octave pedals.
Dude, my gearness has been filled. Thank you. You heard it here. Okay, we did it, dude. Let's call it. Guys, thanks for listening.
So fun. Yeah, great. And hey, leave us a review wherever you shout at us. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We're looking at these comments. We're reading the reviews. We're checking out. We want to make this show awesome for you. So give us feedback anytime. We're going to check it out. We're going to pay attention to it.
Bye.
Bye.